All right, hello and welcome to another Limitless podcast. I'm Dara and I'm joined by some very special people, so we'll get to know who they are just now. Starting with you.
Hi, I'm Ayola. I'm in the choir, the prayer team, and the events team.
Lovely.
Hi, I'm Raymond. You may have heard my voice before, but yes, I'm head of the prayer team. I'm also on the choir, in the committee. And yeah, basically what I do.
Lovely.
Hello, I'm Operami and I'm back again. I'm in the prayer team, events and welcome team in Limitless.
Wonderful. So today we've got a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking about God's will or free will in your choice of life partner. So I want to first of all ask you, do you believe in soulmates? Well, soulmates is very controversial, but do you believe that basically there's just one person for you? What do you think, Ayla?
I believe that you can be compatible with different people. But then I also believe that you can have just that one person that is God ordained. Do you know what I mean? Because I do think there's people that they may not have had or found their God ordained person, but they're living comfortable in a compatible, marriage or relationship or whatever like that. So I think it just depends on how you look at it.
Absolutely.
Lovely. Raymond, what do you think?
What do I think? Well, if anybody is listening to this and they're married, the answer is yes. There's one person for you, and that is your spouse. Whoever you're married to, that is the one person. We're not here to shift any long-standing marriages or anything. So yes, no. But no, I don't think there can actually just be one person for you, because to say that there's one person for you in the planet means that you're now dependable on something other than God. So it's like if God has somebody for you and it doesn't happen, then it's like you can't say that, oh, am I not going to fulfill my purpose?
Right.
Is God's will in my life not going to happen now?
Right.
Because of the one person? No. So I think that it's definitely seasonal, and definitely God ordains people. He brings people into your life. But I would not say that there's just one specific person, and if you're not with that person, that's the end of the world.
That's it.
Yeah.
Hundreds. Okay, what do you think?
Yeah, honestly, if you had asked me this last year, I'd be like, yeah, there's only one person for you. But I don't know where and how, but I think I've just grown to learn that there actually isn't. Just like Raymond said, I don't think there's one person for you. There's literally 7 billion people on the planet. How can there be just one person for you? So yeah, no, I don't think so. So that's just my short answer.
Yeah, no, I'm on the exact same page, because I'm even thinking about the people in different countries, different languages. You don't know pretty much anyone in the grand scheme of things. We don't really even know anyone on this earth. So I do think it's very hard to be like this one person, in Italy, and that's but I think there's so many people you can build a life with if possibilities. But there is that person God sends.
There's something that the pastor that I really like, Pastor Jerry Flowers, he said is there's not one person, but there's one will. There's one purpose that God has for you. There's one thing that He has you doing, and He's going to match you with somebody suitable for that one will.
Right.
So it's you're not now focused on one person. You're focused on your purpose. What does God have me on earth doing? You're occupied in that, and then along that path, God will bring suitable people your way. And when you marry one that He ordains, then the purpose now expands, and it's beautiful.
Lovely, yeah.
Yeah, whatever you do in life should be God's will.
Right.
Right. So if you allow yourself to be transformed by Him, whatever He wants for you is essentially what you would want down the line. So
no, 100%.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That makes sense. And so there's this kind of balance, because obviously God made us with free will. It started with Adam and Eve. He was like, you can have any fruit you want if that's what you really want, but I would advise that you have this and not this. So there's that extent of free will. So how far, let's say if you're single and you're really just trying to get to know someone, thinking, you know what, this might be marriage or whatever you want to pursue, not whatever you want to pursue, you will pursue marriage. But how far does free will come into it, and in terms of choosing, if you understand what I'm trying to say? What's the extent, where's the kind of time where it's you have your free will and then it's if you understand what I'm trying to say?
I think
No.
I think honestly, your free will, as God loves us so much, so there's no limit to free will. There's zero limit to free will. Even if you're feeling from God this isn't the person for me, but I want to do it anyway.
Yeah.
God's not going to stop you.
Yeah.
If it's a person for you, if it's a person for you and God's like, this is your person, you're like, he's not quite what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Then it's like, then fair enough. But like, the thing is, if your will isn't subscribed to God's will, then you're very much on your own. You can't now turn back to God in marriage and be like, God, this marriage that's going like this. It's like, well, this is the one you chose. You get what I mean? It's like Adam and Eve now, they couldn't turn back to God and be like, I don't like our living situations. Like, you ate the fruit.
I mean,
so
that's
you
it.
live with the consequences.
100.
So, no, free will has no limits, but you will reap the consequences if you go
100%.
against God.
Yeah. You were going to say something, Alpha?
Yeah. Okay, so usually when my friends and I have conversations like around this topic, so they're always like, oh, but what if something like this happened? What if you didn't pray, and or they give like a crazy scenario like, oh, what if your husband cheats on you? Would you? Sorry, this is kind of deviating a little bit, but they're like, so one example they said was, oh, what would you do if like your husband cheats on you? Like, would you get a divorce, or would you like kind of just work through it and all of that? And my response every single time that I used to, like, all the scenarios they bring up, and my response is always, it can never be me. But, and I used to say that.
It can never. In the name of Jesus.
Amen. But the reason why I used to say that was because, like, ever since, like, I've been in church, hearing about marriage, like, relationship, I've always, like, learned and heard that you should always start with the right foundation. So that's like making sure that that's actually the person for you. Do you get what I'm saying? So the reason why and obviously I stopped saying that because sometimes God puts you in situations so you can grow and learn. So I stopped saying it can never be me, because I really don't know what the future is for me. But obviously I hope it would never be me.
It will never be.
But
it will never be.
Amen. But so I used to say that because I just like know for myself that if I'm gonna go into this, I'm gonna go into it with God and with God's approval. So because it's obviously from God, it can't go wrong. Yeah. But that's kind of, I don't know how to feel about that. It can't go wrong because things will go wrong just so you can learn.
We're human.
Exactly.
Even in marriage, we still have that free will. Even if it's ordained by God, you still have that.
So that's what I learned, that I needed to stop saying it can't be me. But I used to say that because I kind of knew for myself that it needed to be by God, through God kind of thing.
Absolutely.
From God. So
I have something to say. But first, I want to hear Iola speak. If you quite sad, it's like, did Iola leave the room or something? Like, what?
Okay, so I was just taking in what everyone else was saying, and questions were just coming in my head. Okay, so, guys, make sense of this. So if you say, like, obviously, we want to follow God's will as a Christian, as a believer, right?
Yeah.
So and you guys also said that you believe that there's just not one person for you, right? So if you're following God's will, would God not direct you to the person for you, not a person for you?
Yes.
Do you get what I mean? Do you understand that?
Yeah.
So it's like, in the statement of you saying that, there's just not one person for you, but God's will direct you to the person for you. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's like, at the end of the day, so is that not just one person for you? So it's like, if your person is in Spain, if your person is in Peru, if your person is in Jamaica, whatever, God can direct, like if you end up like, I'm going to go on a vacation with my friends to Jamaica, and you end up finding your person there, like, is that not then, do you know what I mean? The direction that... Does that make sense?
The thing I believe about God's will is that it's seasonal. Right. So God can lead you to Spain and you see somebody and that's your person per time. This is the person that God, I'm leading you to this brother right now. But the brother, he also has free will. You're taking two separate free wills. So although God could tell you that's the guy for you, that's the guy he has for you, if he goes and marries someone else, that's a married man. You can't now be pursuing about a married man because he does have that free will. Yeah. But the ideal is that God will lead you to somebody and that you're both Christians, both submitted to the will of God. Yeah. So in that scenario, you could actually say, yes, this is the person for me. This is the person God has for me. But that statement is very, very conditional on both people being submitted to God.
Yeah. And I think as well... Sorry, actually, continue.
No. I'm just taking it in. I'm taking it in. It's
so funny. But I'm on that line as well because when I was saying there's not, the person, I mean that there are many people who can build a life with. It's not there's only compatibility. It's not that there's only one person, and like Raymond was saying before, if now they're not available, then that's me done. Like
we don't pray for married people.
We don't pray to break up. So it's a thing of, yes, God can lead you to the person for you in line with your purpose when you have your eyes focused on Him, but there is still that element of free will and decision and both partners being involved. So there is the person in line with God's will, and then there's also people who it's possible, but it's not. If I'm making sense. Yeah.
Compatibility versus suitability.
Wow.
So then let's all pray a prayer to pray that God, please, the person that is for me, don't let them be taken by
God.
Let them be in your will.
Disturb them in their sleep.
In their sleep.
But just adding to what you just said, Ayola. I'm remembering a sermon that the Jew was talking about one time, and he was talking about how like God is like the director of like so the world is like a stage, and we're like actors and actresses. So I remember he said something about with a director, if like an actor is not playing their role well, he can send them off and he can get someone else to replace
recast.
Yeah, and then I remember he was like, oh, let's pray that you will not be replaced or something like that because you're not functioning properly. So yeah, it's just like if just back to like that one person for you kind of thing. If like now, like okay, with the example with the married man that you gave, if that's the person that you believe that was for you, but now it's gone off to get married to someone else, that's them out of your like. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. Like, that's no longer like in your.
They lost their role.
They're not in your seat anymore. You get what I'm saying? So God will now bring another actor or actress to come and play that role.
Even better.
The understudy, the undercover that was there.
Exactly. So you get me.
100%. Yeah. And as well, Ayla, you were saying something about, if I went on this place with my friends, or if I was going to this place, kind of like that direction as well. Like a director, I even thought when you said director that it was like directors and what way you're going as well, which is another thing, because it's that's why it's so key to tap into the Holy Spirit, because he may not just be like, go to Italy now, because when you go there you're going to see a guy, and then when you see the guy he's going to say hi, and then when he says hi it's going to it's not a thing of like that you only listen and you only want to hear for exactly what you want to know. It's not going to be that go here because your husband is here and he's playing the guitar and go it can be that, but sometimes the Holy Spirit is just like, stay here now. If you're praying, God, take me out of this place, take me out of Aberdeen, take me out of Aberdeen, and he's like, nah, stay. You stay because you don't know what's in store for you. So it's not every day that we just tap into God's will when we want to know what we want to gain, kind of from that, if you know what I mean. Has anyone got any like thing to add on to that?
Yes, I do have something to add on to that. I really like listening to Dr. Miles Monroe, and also I read the book God is a Matchmaker by Derek Prince. So the principle that you get from that is like, even before marriage, like Adam and Eve, Adam was in the garden. He had his assignment. He had his place of purpose. And Eve was brought to Adam in the garden. So it's like, you're not going to find your husband or your wife on holiday. You're going to find them in purpose. Do you get what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
If your purpose leads you, So like if your purpose leads you to somewhere, obviously, really stay, like you really need to be plugged into your garden in a sense, being fruitful, being occupied, being planted. That's something that I learned also. Like there are a couple of pastors I really love in England, and they said like, wherever God places you, just be planted. Do as much as you can for God. Man. God can bring someone from anywhere in the world in one day. Just be occupied. A verse I really love is if you delight yourself in the Lord, He'll grant you the desires of your heart. Everybody that's listening to this podcast, everybody here, I'm sure we're all desiring of marriage. Delight yourself in the Lord, be planted, serve Him, and you'll see the wonderful things that you'll do in terms of marriage.
100%.
Just reminds me of that verse. Seek the kingdom of God first.
That's your first ministry.
And everything else that you desire will be added on you, even without you having to stress.
So that's why it's good to desire. It's good to ask God that please send me who I'm gonna marry. Please, but that's not your fixation, because that's not even what you're really here for. You're not here on earth to marry and go home. Like it's we're here. We have a ministry that's to serve God first, to win souls for the kingdom. And if now you know, there's somebody who can aid in that ministry and who
help.
you know, it's an aid and helping thing. It's not that when this person comes that's like, oh, this is exactly what I was here for, marriage. No. Like, you still have your walk with God, they have their walk with God, and they come together and you aid each other.
Absolutely.
So that's really where I stand on that. Yeah. I have a question for you.
Ooh, go for it.
What's this question?
It's like, okay, I thought about it earlier, right? And it's very like controversial because, you know, some people ask God that who am I going to marry, and God just like tells them. And some people, they're asking God who am I going to marry, and, you know, again, they're directed in that path. It's not like it's this person, but you go on that path, and you know, the guy may pursue that. Hey, girl, you're kind of like, I like you, you know. So, but there's different routes for everybody. But in a specific route, what do you do? If God and this is not based on any external, I just thought of it. What do you do if God tells you who you are going to marry, and you like do not like this person? I've heard testimonies of like, no, I'm so, because I was watching a video earlier, and there was this woman, and she was serving in like a youth church, like she was the leader of the youth church, and there's this guy that came, and she, every time this guy walked in the room, she's just like, I can't stand him.
Oh, is this a YouTuber?
It's a YouTuber. Have you watched this video?
I think so.
It was just a one-off video like recommended to me, and I watched it.
I think I have
and so
watched
she
it.
did not like this guy, and then something like turned around. So, you know, and that's like an actual story of, you know, how it happened.
Yeah.
But like in the practical sense, as in you and I, because like, what do you actually do?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
No, this is. Do you know what? Sorry, this doesn't actually even answer your question. But I've always said if I want to meet like my husband or whatever, I want it to be dramatic, something crazy.
What?
Something crazy like somebody that hates.
Like you've got. Oh really? Like
And
a
then,
story.
Yeah, dramatic. Like,
Oh my
first
God.
I hated this. I couldn't even stand him, and now like together.
And now we're like in love, 3 kids.
But yeah, no, that doesn't answer your question. But I just say that.
Thank you for saying that.
But to answer your question though,
Yeah.
do you know, just back to that verse again, like not that verse, but I feel like when you become God's child, his disciple, like I said earlier, his will should become your will kind of thing. So if you think about it that way, then you know, and also you know God does not make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
You know that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't think in the now. We should think in God's,
You know.
we should look at from God's perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the easiest thing to do, but it can be done.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like we should just focus on, okay, this is God. I trust you so much that you know the right thing for me.
Yeah.
I trust you that you would not put me in the wrong situation. Like
Yeah.
you wouldn't let anything go wrong with. You wouldn't want me
Yeah.
to be unhappy.
Yeah.
If anything, you want me to experience like joy and all of that stuff. So yeah, if you think that way, I feel like it would allow you to be more open to you know, embrace the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ayla, what do you think?
I was just about to agree with I was just about to agree with her, to be honest, because I was just thinking about it, honestly, guys. I like to think and marinate the question in my head. Do you understand what I mean? So I don't think, So, I was just thinking as well, because I have seen people that it's happened to where, like, they're like, oh my God, like, no, God, I don't want him. He's too short. He's not, do you know what I mean? Or, like, do you know what I mean? Like, but I think it just, at the end of the day, as Oppa said, like, if you want to follow God's will, his will needs to become yours. And I think it's, also put it into prayer that God should help you decrease like just letting it be all about physical attraction or what you want, because you know sometimes some people are like, no, this is what I want, God, this is what I want. But at the end of the day, you said you want God's will, you need to submit to his will, and you ask God to open the eyes of your heart. Do you know what I mean? So you're not just looking at the physical being of the person, but you're also like, God, do you know what I mean? If this is what you want, let me connect to this person on the level that you're like, this is for you, kind of thing. But for me, God, please don't let that happen to me, because
I always
something that I would even stress, you know, if anybody's listening to this who has actually found themselves in that situation, you know, God has shown you that this could be the person for you. He's not telling you to marry him tomorrow. You know, do you understand? There's a reason that he has shown you, like, so you know, God showing you that kind of thing would come from you having a place of prayer. You know, you have your prayer corner that you've been talking to God, and God has now brought you to this place where he's shown you this person. So now the prayer doesn't stop because it's like, I don't like it. No, the prayer now even intensifies. Why do you have me with this person? What's the
What
reason?
is there I'm not
Is there a
seeing?
reason that I'm seeing it now, he's not seeing it? You know, that kind of thing. So it's like you continue to pray. Like if you're at that point, it means that there must be a level of prayer. So just
Right.
continue with that and allow, with time, God will open your eyes to see the purpose. And it's like, along the time, you know, God knows us better than we know ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, you may know what you want, but God will know what you need. Maybe you want a 6-foot guy, but God knows you need somebody that is just more thoughtful than anybody else on the planet. Do you understand?
Right.
You know what I
That's not
mean?
thoughtful enough for you.
Yeah. I mean, you can have 6 foot and thoughtful, you know, God can do it, but you know, but like seriously, it's like, you know, a couple of pastors I love in England, they're like, you have your pebbles and you have your stones as well. So it's like you can't lose God's will over like pebbles over sort of thing. So it's like you just have to trust God that He knows why He's paired this together. He's the perfect matchmaker after all.
Indeed. And I have another question. How do you stay steadfast? Because I remember I was watching a sermon and the woman was saying that faith holds fast. Like it's like you're present, you're waiting. And so God's timing is very much not our timing. We've learned this in a lot of different situations where you're like, God, by tomorrow, and He's like, nah. You know? So how now, whether this be your season of singleness where you're praying that let me get into a relationship, whether it be that God has told you and you're waiting for something to happen, any like season that you're in, basically leading up to marriage, even engagement, maybe it's lasting a while, whatever it may be, how do you stay steadfast, like practical ways? I mean, I have a few ideas, but you know, for our listeners as well, to really get thinking of how we can, you know, really be holding fast in those seasons. Prayer.
I think prayer definitely helps to keep you occupied, so your mind's not wandering off and like, oh God, like when is this gonna happen? But if you just focus on praying, and you know, I think I read somewhere about it's not how long you wait, it's how you wait or something.
Yes,
like
it's what you're doing.
So it's
in
what
your
you're
waiting
doing,
period.
what you're doing in your waiting period, like you know, just praying. I think. Yeah.
I think another thing that I would definitely say is don't go on that kind of a journey alone. Again, it's like, you know, in the multitude of counselors there's safety. You know, 2 are better than 1. Have those, it's important to have those people around you that you can actually confide in, and you have to be very careful about it, you know, like God has to lead you to those people that's like, actually God is showing me this, so they can pray with you, because there can be seasons of doubt, there can be seasons where things are looking unlikely, like maybe if that guy already knew and he knows the energy that the girl's giving off, like he could be like, this girl doesn't like me at all, but then you know you can have friends that encourage him to keep praying, to keep believing, and just with time. So that's a key thing I'll say, don't do it alone.
Basically the piggybacking off the prayer as well, it is important, and I would also say like focus on developing yourself as an individual. Just because you are in a period where like you're like, I don't know, seeking a relationship or you've been engaged for a while or what, don't just like wait and just do nothing but pray. Do you know what I mean? Also find ways that you can so prepare yourself for the next stage that you're looking for. Do you know what I mean? So so prayer, what was Raymond's word? Prayer.
You piggyback on everyone's
I'm just adding them together.
Prayer, friends, preparation.
And preparation.
Beautiful. The
PFP.
That was deep. And I definitely agree with the preparation and serving God as well, is really just pouring yourself into your ministry. Because when you lose focus on God, that when are they coming, when you're looking at the congregation, is it that one, is it that one, is it that one, when your eyes are focused, everything comes after.
I know, I'm just agreeing.
So 100%. And I was even watching as well, Pastor Mike Todd was saying that when you're waiting on God, that you're waiting on God as if you're a waiter, as in like, what can I do for you now?
Exactly.
I know this season's not forever, so I'm not worrying about it, but in this season, how can I do what I need to do properly, for the kingdom? So
the kingdom. You know,
it's more. I mean, you can't be not serving by your own, and then when you get into a marriage, think how can we serve together? You need to have your own purpose, your own walk, so that when everything aligns, you're not
an addition, not
it's not a. Yeah, that's what I think. So we're about to round up in these next few minutes. Has anyone got questions you want to throw onto the table that we can think about, or any statements?
Ayola looks like she's got plenty.
Well, we have touched on like God's will and how we would like approach, you know what I mean? But then the question was also like in free will as well. Do you know what I mean? Free will is a journey in itself. Do you know what I mean? And obviously people do make mistakes, and people do want to sometimes taste the will that is not of God. So it's like, what do we have to say about that as well? Do you know what I mean? Because you know, like, obviously when you do fall, obviously you can get back up. You can.
Yeah.
You can indeed. Yeah. But it's like that process alone, obviously, God forbid we ever, do you know what I mean? But like, what do you guys like think of just ever like, even like, you know, being on that free will journey where you're like, oh, I did this, I wish I didn't like approach this person this way. You know, sometimes people say the right person, the wrong time, or something like that, because that can also happen in a time of free will. I think I'm talking too much now. So like, what do you guys have to say? Because you know that does happen. Where
of course.
I'm now, obviously we're having this, you know, conversation going, and now I tap in with Raymond's like seasonal thing and everything. Like, it makes sense now, because you can have the person that is for you, or you know what I mean, and it's just not the right time because you've decided to just go and jump there when God did not say this is your whatever. So
like you said about getting back up, asking for forgiveness, but there was something that I learned literally just last night, which actually makes sense that I learned about it with this conversation now. But I was talking about allowing yourself to receive forgiveness. So it was looking at 2 examples from the Bible. So we have Peter, who denied Jesus, and then we have Judas, who also betrayed Jesus. So they were looking at those two people and how they chose forgiveness. So Judas couldn't allow himself, like, he couldn't receive forgiveness from God. But Peter, on the other hand, we saw that he did. So it just made me realize that that's true. Like, sometimes you need to allow yourself to receive forgiveness. It's something that, I'm not gonna lie, I still kind of struggle with. I still kind of struggle with, like, sometimes I'm like, oh my days, I've just gone so wrong, like, like, oh my, like, I literally say to myself, like, God is so upset, like, I can't even imagine, like, but then it's the lies of the devil, like, God is a merciful God. It has nothing to do with us, like, His mercy has nothing to do with, because it says we're undeserving of it. Indeed. So just allow yourself to forgive. I'm just not I know God has forgiven me. Take that, you know, active step to not do it again. That, you know, now, okay, God, I'm choosing. I know that you're forgiving me, so I'm choosing to align my will with yours. I'm choosing for you to take over. Like, you know, I want to follow you. I want to do your will and your will alone. And then I think changes will be seen.
And that in itself is free will, because you're making that decision.
Exactly.
God has not said,
you know, you know, I've decided to follow Jesus. That's a decision that you make. So let's not even pretend that we don't make these decisions that can change our life. Also, we make a decision to follow God. And in that, we're transformed.
It just shows you how loving God is as well. He allows you to make that mistake and then realize things for yourself, and it's just beautiful to see. Like,
Raymond, what do you think?
What do I think? I think you know, we had the marriage panel on the other day, and there was a couple who had actually, you know, done it that's not God's way, you know, like they had, you know, tasted the fruit, so to say. And what I really took from that is that there was a season of separation and there was a season of growth. You know, I think if you really realize that, oh, we've missed the mark here, we've gone here, I think that's a good thing to do. Separate and grow. God may bring you back together. God may not.
Exactly.
But that's a necessary step to take if you find yourself in that situation. And, you know, God is the perfect builder. It's not like you're not going to have a good marriage. You're not going to have God's perfect marriage just because you've messed up. No, but once you've taken that decision that from now on, God is the center, God is my pursuit, my priority, you know, then He will lead you into the perfect marriage, whether it's with that person again or not. But it's just a case of having God at number one and not having a person number one.
And it's just really asking God as well to change your perspective as well. That even if there are like trials and like rocks or whatever along the way, like I remember I was watching as well, there was a minister and her husband was like cheating on her, and then she's like, God, you said, and he's like, I did say, you know. So it's like there are even things that you learn from and you can impact other people's lives with. Anyway, we can go on and on and also on and on and on. But I mean, we also need to go home. So we really, really hope you enjoyed. I hope that you you were blessed by some things that we said and you want to join the discussion, we're always available to speak to. I mean, we all follow Limitless. You can go and stalk me. My name's Dara. So I've been Dara. This is Isla. Oh, yeah, it's actually illegal. You don't have to stalk me, but you can find me. And just talk to me, yeah. But I'm Dara, this is Isla, Raymond, and Ope. We hope you have a very, very good, day.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.